What's up, everybody? Couch Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down why you need to be using the Phantom or you're throwing. But all joking aside, the Phantom is a very powerful weapon, so we need to break down exactly why you should be using it, tips and tricks to use it better, and much, much more. But go to the GameLeap website and the links down below for high quality, in-depth guides, tips and tricks, VOD reviews. We got it all on the GameLeap website. You just got to go check it out right now in the comments down below. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, before we jump into the first reason why you need to be using the Phantom, let me ask you a question. Which weapon do you think has better first shot accuracy? The Phantom or the Vandal? Now, a lot of people, if you haven't already looked up the stats, probably would think that the Vandal has better first shot accuracy than the Phantom. I mean, it is the one-tap gun, quote unquote, after all, but that's actually just not true. The Phantom unscoped has a 0.2 spread when the Vandal has a 0.25 spread. Really small, but it is important that the Phantom is actually slightly more accurate than the Vandal with a smaller percentage spread. And then the scoped, respectively, is 0.11 on the Phantom and 0.157. So both, the Phantom is just the more accurate weapon. Now, why this doesn't matter that much, and you might be saying, hey, okay, well, it doesn't really matter. It's almost exactly identical, so this should not be a deciding factor. Well, you do not know the amount of shots that happen that you would have headshotted on the Phantom that you just completely missed on the Vandal, especially when tapping is so important on the Vandal. And you might be saying, okay, well, that might happen 1 in 100 times, very infrequently, where you'll just see slightly more deviation on the Vandal. But how many times do you actually one-tap someone and not finish them off with the Phantom? You might think it's a lot, but it really isn't all that much. And you never see the situations where you actually would have hit the shot if you were using a different weapon. Now, the next thing that we need to talk about is at the pro level. Now, the Phantom and the Vandal at the pro level had very similar pick rate. However, Phantom users noticeably got more value with multi-kills and spraying through smoke than their Vandal counterparts. And this has been echoed in sentiment by many commentators and many analysts in Valorant right now, talking about how much value the Phantom gets automatically. Now, we say this very often, but having no tracer is extremely important with the Phantom. Being able to spray constantly, spray check enemies, making sure they're not looking up to your smoke, and being able to punish that style of play is incredibly important, and you can get tons of value and damage on the enemy just by spraying through smokes a lot where enemies are likely to be in, and you can at the very least clear that area. Now, the thing is though, a lot of people, especially at the lower levels, are not going to put a lot of stock in this because you're not spraying enough through smokes anyways. This is something that you need to be doing very consistently, but it's something that happens a lot more towards the higher ranks, and at the lower ranks, people aren't diligent enough. They don't know when and where to spray through smoke. So while yes, you might not think it's that important right now, you will as you start improving and start climbing, and if you want to climb, it's something that you're gonna put a lot more stock into. The next thing that we need to talk about is the faster rate of fire. Phantom at 9.9 rounds a second, Vandal at 9.75 rounds per second. Still a very slight change between both weapons. However, how many times have you ever gotten a duel with an enemy where you hit them 3 times in the body and then they hit you 4 times in the body? Well, some percentage of the time, you actually started firing that enemy at the exact same time. You both swung on each other, you both started firing, but you were rocking a Vandal and they were rocking a Phantom, and headshots aside, you actually lost the duel even if you started firing at the exact same time because of that rate of fire. This means a certain percentage of the time, a lot of these scrappy fights, a lot of these swing fights, a lot of these direct 50-50s, especially if they're in that middle to close range, you're gonna win them more on the Phantom without perfect gunplay. The next thing that we need to talk about is the bigger mag. Vandal has a 25 mag and Phantom has a 30. Now, this is something that just really works towards the power level of the Phantom. Being able to spray through smokes, being able to control your spray a lot more, get multi-kills a lot easier, and just having a larger mag in general gives you a lot more options for fighting multiple enemies at the same time. I really feel like this is an underrated talking point with the Phantom, but having a whole 5 extra shots really comes up in many more ways than you actually feel initially. While yes, it might be instinctual to just reload with the Vandal, there are going to be many situations with the Phantom where you're going to be able to not reload in a clutch, where maybe you would have only had like 2 or 3 shots, and instead you have 8 shots or 8 or 9 shots, and you're going to be able to try to win that 1v1 without that additional pressure of needing to reload. Now let's talk about one of the big problems that a lot of people have when using the Phantom, and one of the big reasons why people still flock to the Vandal over the Phantom, and it all comes down to undisciplined crosshair placement. You see, Vandal is actually a litmus test, where not only do you have to have perfect crosshair placement to get kills, because it's incredibly hard to actually spray, but it forces you to have really good crosshair placement to win duels. Unlike the Phantom, where you're gonna win quite a few duels even if you weren't actually perfectly accurate. And because of this, people's crosshair placement with the Phantom gets incredibly lazy, and it gets lazy to a point where you are actually just instinctively playing worse on the Phantom, not holding yourself to that same crosshair placement standard that you would put yourself on the Vandal when you really need to. This is why it's really important to make sure that you're practicing with the Phantom, you're training with it, you're playing free-for-all, you're really trying to go for those headshots, you're not neglecting your crosshair placement when using it, and you're not just using it as a run-and-gun weapon that you can just spray control every single enemy with, because that's not the intent for the Phantom, and that's really going to build bad habits for you going into the future. Now, the next big thing that a lot of people are talking about, or a lot of people, they just don't want to use the Phantom, is because of those dinks. 140 and they lose a duel, right? You dink for 140 and you don't win. Here's the thing. Most dinks should end up as kills anyways. In fact, I would say the vast majority, 99 kills out of 100, should end up as a kill if you hit that first headshot, if you are any bit controlling your recoil. All you have to do is get a little bit of damage on the enemy to finish them off. Even if it's a wallbang, should be very easy for you to finish them off. And on top of that, this is only going to happen a very small percentage of the time, getting that headshot and not being able to finish the enemy off. Now, I really think that this is actually psychological, where it happened maybe once in an entire game, or maybe once in 3 games, but it sticks with your mind so much that you just won't let it go. You don't even analyze all the benefits that you got from using the Phantom. You really only just harp on that one instance where you headshot an enemy and they jiggle peeked you and dinked you right back, and you're so mad, you're so frustrating, but it really doesn't happen all that much. Next time you play 5 games, I want you to mark how many times you dink an enemy and don't finish them. Then I want you to analyze your spray control. Are you just going crazy and you're just getting a lucky headshot, or actually are you controlling your spray? And honestly, this is not going to happen more than 5 times in 5 games, I guarantee it. And you're going to get many more kills where you wouldn't have actually converted on those kills with the Vandal. Even if you don't see it, it is definitely happening. Now let's move on to the last reason why you really want to use the Phantom over the Vandal, and it actually goes back to that ability to run and gun with the weapon a lot more. The Phantom is one of those weapons where you can run and gun quite a bit better than the Vandal, which is going to be completely inaccurate. And while that should not be your status quo, you should be counter-strafing, aiming head level, and things like that. It is a great thing to do when you are trying to punish specifically single tap weapons. Operator, Bucky, Sheriff, Marshals, especially if these weapons are close to you, you can make yourself very difficult to hit by running and gunning, while at the same time trading a consistent amount of damage and being able to get them to miss that one pivotal shot. This is incredibly powerful and an incredibly powerful strategy that you can incorporate to punish enemies when you identify what weapon they have. You know they have a Marshal, you know they have a Sheriff. You do not need to jiggle peek that corner into a Sheriff when the main way that they're gonna kill you is by hitting your head, by you lining it perfectly with their crosshair placement. If you can run and gun them, you have the advantage in that matchup, and that's something that you can abuse through a lot of different matchups. That's a lot easier to do on the Phantom as opposed to the Vandal. Now, maybe I swayed you, maybe I did it in this video, but the stats don't lie. The Phantom has a lot of advantages over the Vandal. I think there would be a solid argument to use the Vandal if it had the same, if not slightly better, first shot accuracy as the Phantom. However, with it actually being worse, you might not feel that decrease, but it's there, it's affecting your gameplay, and all in all, there's just so many damn advantages of the Phantom. As long as you make sure that you're very disciplined, just like you are with the Vandal, you are going to have a much better time in the long run using the Phantom in its current state. Now, if you agree or disagree with me, I really want to know your opinion about all that in the comments down below. But smash the like and subscribe and go to the GameLeap website for in-depth advanced VOD reviews, tips and tricks, map guides, weapon guides, agent courses, and much more. Go check it out right now down below. But thanks so much for coming by. Hope you enjoyed the video. Love your faces. See you next time.